So this is a continuation on from part 2. So my 2 teachers, both of them were really big guys. Well, one was short but stocky, the volleyball teacher, the one that took me into the room. And the other teacher, who was mostly Hawaiian, big Hawaiian, I mean, you just always had respect for the guy. It wasn't about fear, but you knew if it had to come down to it that he'd just break your neck. But they had it in for me in a good way. When I had to work with the gentleman, the severely autistic gentleman, it was absolutely stark. And I knew that there were situations where kids, you know, you see kids get on the bus, the special bus or whatever, that are wearing helmets, but I never really understood quite why. So when I'm working in this state, I guess mental hospital, it's not like they have helmets on all the time because they're in and being supervised. But I understood after dealing with, when I say dealing with, I'm ever grateful for what those teachers did. But it also gave me very, very hefty insight into the realities of mental health issues. And of course, this is beyond a mental health issue. This is severe autism. And, you know, I would leave these sessions and I would cry, go to the bathroom, big tough guy. But, you know, I look like a big tough guy, but them guys knew. They knew. Everybody knows. I'm just a softie, man. I'm a freaking teddy bear that if you step on my toes, I'm going to stomp on yours twice as hard. So, as I'm working up there, they seem to notice that I have kind of a natural attraction, I have a natural draw to help people in these kind of situations. I mean, to help him not hit himself and to try and calm him down was really a lesson in trying to, in so many ways, it's just, you know, we're all human beings. So let me not go on with that and go on to the next patient that I guess after a couple days they could see that I was working really well with all the patients, and so they took me into, or this could have been under the orders of my teachers. They moved me into a different section where it was people that were in an invalid situation. There were 2 patients that I worked with. One of them was in kind of a situation where, you know, they have very low brainstem activity. They have very little connection, and they're curled up and tight, and they can't move on their own. So one was a young man, I can't remember what his story was, and the other one was a young woman. And the story with the young girl is, she must have been 15 or 16 at the time, maybe 16. Her and her boyfriend are, of course, still in high school, and her boyfriend had snuck her out at night. And they ran off and doing their thing or whatever, and they had an accident. And it put her into a vegetable state. And so she's in this position where all of her muscles are tightening and curling, drawing her limbs up to her body. And in a sense, even though nobody knows for sure, but, you know, it's painful, kind of a torturous situation. And so it was my job to go in and to pull and stretch their, for both of them, same situation for both of them, but I always focus on her because I knew her story. I didn't know the other young man's story. Not the autistic kid, but the actually the autistic, he was a man, he wasn't a kid. And this person this patient that I was working with also was no longer a child. I think she may have been 20 something, maybe a little older than mid-20s. But anyway, it was my responsibility to massage and stretch her arms and her legs so that to try to give her, to break up all the muscle atrophy and things like that were going on because she was in an invalid state. And I can tell you right now that I never cried while I was in there, because to cry would be to take on this girl's pain and suffering, and that's just wrong. I'm not there for that. I'm not there for that. I'm there so I would stay strong, and I would do the best that I could do, you know? I mean, my thing has always been to put myself in the shoes of other people. So that's what I would do. I would just put myself into a position. If I was in this position, what would make me feel better? And so I would massage her arms and massage her legs, follow the directions I was given, and do it with absolutely... I can see how some people might go in and be kind of like, okay, I'll just sit here with her for a while. But I would talk with her and give her that massage, or whatever you want to call it, muscle... It was basically to loosen up her muscles so she wasn't always cramping and in pain. But I tell you, I would go to the bathroom every time I would finish with her and just cry and sob. But I always felt good afterwards, because I knew that I was doing, well, not just that, it felt natural to help people. It always has felt natural for me to help people. Now, this story is absolutely one that's extremely close to my heart and to my being, because the lessons that I learned from them teachers and the lessons that I learned from my ceramic teacher who wouldn't pass me has been something that's remained with me, and is one of the reasons why, I don't know how it is, all these people that were friends of mine have just, they're still my friends. I don't know, I know that they've been told some crazy shit. But almost every single one of them I met under circumstances where I stopped and helped them. I stopped and helped them. For some, taking them to surf spots. For some, fixing their bike out on the trail. For another, through really tough times in college, helping them through, and helping myself too, because helping other people has always helped me. Now let me help you understand something. If my mother exploited this story, it further explains the absolute sociopathy that you guys are dealing with, not just dealing with, but are maximizing and amplifying, because I think that she turned that story into something very, very, very different. And let me help you understand that when I finally started to understand that my parents were doing something really weird, my mother gives me a call and says to me, I just want to remind you, Jason, don't play the victim. And I'm like, what are you talking about, Mom? Don't play the victim. And at the time, I had been having really strong conversations with her and my dad about the abuse that was going on, and when I was a kid, and how I wanted to put all of that behind me, and I needed their help to finish processing it and move on. And her answer to me was, don't play the victim, when apparently she's running a campaign against me, exploiting real life situations into something that is absolutely impossible. Impossible. So understand that this is a little bit about my mother, and that who she is, well, she's something else. Please understand, I love my mother. I mean no harm to my mother. But the truth needs to be absolutely shown. And I've done everything I can up to this point to make sure that when I shine that light, that it's absolutely stark and without a doubt, well, you just can't argue with it. Because the simplicity of how these stories have been exploited and amplified, well, I think that I've done a lot of work to make sure that to expose exactly what's going on here. Happy Thanksgiving, folks. Happy Thanksgiving.